Hello all, welcome to Academy of Civil Service. All of you know, Buddhism is one of the important tools that we use as a soft power. If you are looking into India's relationship with Southeast Asian countries, all of you know how we are leveraging Buddhism as a cultural tool. But the story of Buddhism as a cultural tool or a cementing tool in India's relationship, that's not something started today. If you are going back to history, you know that during the time period of Ashoka and after that during the time period of Kanishka, after that during the time period of Harshavardhana, all of these rulers were important patrons of Buddhism. When we are coming into medieval India, one of the significant phase in India's history of Buddhism is Pala period. Now our question is why we are considering Pala period as one of the significant period in India's history of Buddhism. So the Palas, they were one of the important rulers that had ruled eastern part of India. We can say present day Bengal, Bangladesh, Bihar that were ruled by Pala dynasty from the time period of 8th to 12th century. They were one of the significant dynasty and they were great patrons of Mahayana Buddhism. During this time period, if you are looking into the contribution of Palas, that is specifically in relationship with Buddhism, you can see a lot of contribution. One, definitely Buddhist architecture. During this time period, there were a lot of Buddhist viharas. For example, during the time period of Gopala I, he had constructed Odandapuri Vihara. Odandapuri Vihara in Bihar that was constructed by Gopala I. And see, this Vihara had inspired many monasteries in Tibet. One of the monastery that was inspired from Odandapuri Vihara, that was Samye Monastery in Tibet. Now apart from Odandapuri Vihara, during the time period of Dharmapala, one of the most famous Vihara after our Nalanda, that was Vikramshila University. It was founded during the time period of Dharmapala. And this Vikramshila University, it had invited a lot of scholars, especially from Tibet. Many Tibetan students came to this Vikramshila University for studying regarding Tibetan Buddhism. Apart from this, Nalanda University, which was founded during the time period of Kumaragupta, it was revived by Dharmapala. And most important Mahavihara, which is located in Bangladesh, Somapura Mahavihara. You can see the beautiful architecture of Somapura Mahavihara. It is also one of the UNESCO World Heritage Site. So all these Buddhist architectures that were constructed, or we can say that were patronized during the time period of Palas. Now, the contribution of the Palas that does not stop here. If you are looking into another contribution, one of the important thing was the development of early school of miniature painting. Miniature painting means painting which is small and detailed, that we call as miniature painting. So during this time period, the Palas, they used to write Buddhist manuscript. This Buddhist manuscript they used to write on small palm leaves. So there is no that much space for drawing the figure of bodhisattvas or Buddhist deities. So they used to draw it in a very small scale, in a very detailed scale, that we call as miniature painting. So we can say the origin of miniature painting or early school of miniature painting that was developed under the Palas. And one of the example of Buddhist manuscript that was developed during Palas, that is Ashtasahasrika Prajnaparamida. Now apart from Buddhist architecture, apart from the painting, you can also see the Tibetan Buddhism was introduced during this time period. The Buddhist scholars like Adisha, Dibangara, they went to Tibet. They were invited by a Tibetan king. From there, they have preached the idea of Indian Buddhism. So, Indian Buddhism mixed with Tibetan culture, that led to the development of Tibetan Buddhism. All of you know, even today, our relationship with Tibet in terms of Buddhism continues because we have provided asylum to Dalai Lama, who is a major proponent of Tibetan Buddhism. Now here, I want to ask you one question. Can you tell me, Dalai Lama is the head of which branch of Tibetan Buddhism? You can post your comment or you can post your answer on the comment section. Apart from Buddhist architecture, Buddhist painting, Tibetan Buddhism, this time period you can also see Buddhism was used as a soft power. For example, during this time period, the Southeast Asian region, Java, Sumatra, Indonesia, it was ruled by a dynasty which is called as Salyendra dynasty. So one of the ambassador from Salyendra dynasty that was sent to the court of Devapala, who was a Pala king. During this time period, Devapala gave permission for Salyendra dynasty to construct a vihara near our Nalanda University. Due to all these things, Pala period is considered as significant phase in history of Buddhism in India. And during 12th century, all of you know, there were Islamic invasion, the invasions under Muhammad Ghori, and one of the general of Muhammad Ghori was Bakhtiyar Khilji. So during his invasion, all these viharas, whether it is Odantapuri Vihara, Nalanda University, Vikramshila University, everything was destroyed. So we can say, if you are analyzing from ancient India coming into early medieval India, it was last significant phase in the history of Buddhism in India. But the story of Buddhism that does not end here. Today we are using Buddhism as a soft power and tool in India's relationship, which was started from ancient India. So that legacy continues even today. And see, this Pala period, their contribution to Buddhism, it's very important for your UPSC examination. That's why UPSC had asked a mains question regarding why Pala period is considered as significant phase in history of Buddhism in India. So enumerate. All of you please try to answer this question based on the ideas that you have got regarding the Pala period. Thank you.